So the first thing that we want to just go over, because we're going to go over like 9 points roughly, is just that anyone who doesn't know what CryptoVoxels is, really simply, CryptoVoxels to me, because it's different for each person, because it's kind of like a multifaceted thing. But CryptoVoxels is basically a user-owned platform where users can build whatever they want, really, whether it be just a simple house or like a e-commerce store and sell NFTs in it, or I don't know, some sort of like social media profile where they like post pictures of themselves or something like that. It's really anything you want. And I think that what makes it so special and what makes all these blockchain based virtual worlds so cool is that it's user owned. And we've never really had, platforms like that exist ever. Because like Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, Google, whatever, these are all huge platform businesses, and platform businesses tend to be the biggest types of businesses. And now we have user ownership in them. And it's totally flipping the paradigm of like what existed before. And I just think that they're basically going to be like the future of the internet. But anyways, that's kind of getting off course, but that's basically how I see CryptoVoxels. Matty, what is CryptoVoxels to you? What do you think?
I kind of see it in a similar way. I definitely didn't have that sort of a grand vision when I first came across CryptoVoxels. It was interesting to me, these land projects that were coming up that had like a land ownership concept. And to me, Decentraland was the first one that had the concept, but CryptoVoxels was what I found that had the open world so you can actually explore the concept. So CryptoVoxels for me was like, oh wow, Decentraland can be like this, but obviously more in 3D. And I kind of see CryptoVoxels as like, I don't know if it likes to be compared with the Minecraft of the blockchain world, but it seems to be like that. But obviously with smart contract integration, we can just do a whole lot more stuff. So for me, I'm seeing it now as more of a playpen for artists to create beautiful things. And now I'm seeing people host events and crossing a lot of use cases with Decentraland. But yeah, it's definitely blowing my mind nowadays when I come across CryptoVoxels. I never envisioned it to be what it is now.
Yeah, one thing I think is super cool is that we're seeing the virtual world mimic reality in the sense that, CryptoVoxels, DCL, Somnium, all these platforms that are live, they're pretty empty right now. But what we're seeing is like artists, they go into the neighborhood, and they start building like beautiful galleries and putting up their paintings and selling stuff. And then you have like the collectors come in who generally have more money, and then they start buying some stuff, building beautiful stuff. And it's almost like it mirrors the real world because it's like gentrification. And you'll have like this kind of up and coming neighborhood where the artists move into because it's cheap and they can display their art and do art. And then it becomes cool. And then there's like coffee shops and, stores and like, it just becomes cool. And like the property values rise in those areas. So I think that's one really cool thing that we've seen throughout all the virtual worlds that are out right now is that artists are really like on the forefront of this stuff.
Yep. The video is a bit laggy, which I don't think we can do much about. It's good for us, but
is it laggy on Discord?
Yeah. So it's like
Right.
whatever they see is laggy, so it would be laggy on Discord. For me and you, it's fine on Zoom. But I don't think I think we can't do anything with that because I remember streaming Decentraland on Zoom and it was choppy either way.
Bit laggy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that sucks. Well, I mean, the audio is good, so I guess that counts for something.
Yeah.
Over time, we'll simplify this process because we're doing a Zoom call, then going through like Discord and muting the Discord, and then we have recording on the other computer, and it's the whole thing. But yeah, hopefully, it'll get better over time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, how do you think CryptoVoxels got started? Like, what do you know about the origin of CryptoVoxels? This is point number 2.
Sorry, Andrew. What I might do is quickly send an invite link to the WhatsApp group that I'm part of,
Cool.
And then jump back in. So maybe you can cover that bit, and then I'll jump in and cover it.
All right, cool.
After you.
So, I actually wanted to ask Matty about this because I have an idea of how things got started, but I'm not totally positive. My understanding is that Ben used to work as a contractor for DCL for a short period of time, and he was already interested in the metaverse and that kind of stuff. And he kind of saw what DCL was doing and how amazing it is. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna try to, do my own little virtual world, but it's going to be kind of DCL is going for like a high end, cool, great experience. And then as Matty mentioned before, I think Ben wanted to go more of like the Minecraft and kind of blocky and more more like not, I don't want to say childish, but more simple, much more simple, much more easier to build, just like, simple structures and whatnot. Anyways, he decided to start this. And from my understanding, he launched it in, I think it was June of 2018, or maybe even a bit earlier than that. But yeah, so he launched it and he just like, from my understanding, he just did it. It wasn't, he didn't raise any money or he didn't hire a team. He was just like, I'm just going to work on this nights and weekends because I have a full-time job, which I think is really cool. And I really respect that. And so he just started really, really slow, selling a few pieces of land in Origin City, which is the main city. He started with selling a few pieces of land in the center neighborhood, which is now the center of like the world. And the property prices at then were like, I think he was selling them for like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 roughly ETH. And I don't know the price of ETH at the time, but you have to imagine we're coming after the ICO bubble. So, probably pretty high.
50 to 100 USD maybe?
Yeah. I would, wait, at 0.3, or you mean ETH was 100 USD?
No, I'm saying, at point, did you say 0.1 or did you say 0.3? At 0.3.
I don't know if there's any 0.1, but I know there's like 0.2 and 0.3.
0.3, okay. Yeah, it'd probably be a couple $100, I would say.
Yeah, I would imagine. But anyways, so he just launched it and worked on it part-time and just slowly built out from there. One thing that I liked was he funded himself by doing the land sales. He would do it on it wasn't even a weekly basis back then. He'd basically just wait until there's enough people building stuff and like the world kind of filled out. And then he would go and print more land, like mint more lands. And then he would just do it like that. And I think that's it. There's pros and cons. Obviously, like DCL, you have a huge team, experts. Not that Ben's not an expert. He is an expert. But DCL has this great team and they're building like these magnificent stuff and really high on experience. And you have this guy kind of building this Roblox Minecraft experience, which both have pros and cons. But I think that's cool how he kind of self-funded. And I think I would love to see more teams in the space do like self-funding, like make a part-time project and work on it nights and weekends and then kind of fund yourself by slowly selling NFTs. Oh, and then I didn't talk about this, but sorry, Matty, I totally should let you talk. But
no,
one thing he did, which I think was really smart, was that he started off selling his stuff really cheap at that 0.2, 0.3 level. And then as it got more popular, he would increase the price. And so he would kind of see what is the market price, and then he would price the new stuff he's minting at that price. And I think that's great because it kind of raises the base price of all new land, and also it gives him more funding, which is great for the product to continue. Sorry, Matty, I just talked forever.
No, I similar to what your experience was in learning about the origins of where Ben and Decentraland came from. I do remember there was a blog post, and I kind of found this a bit later on, and I was like, holy crap, Ben was part of the Decentraland team, or maybe he was a contractor for them. And I don't know if it was Ben that actually figured out the whole land can be tokenized model first, or if it was Decentraland.
I think DCL did first.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think DCL was like the OG.
Right. Yeah, there's something like that, right? And I know that I think Ben was working on like the Babylon JS stuff before they converted to Unity, which I believe what they're running on now, which is a long time ago. So that's his history, but in the sense of, I totally agree with you, man. Ben's like a one-man army. If there's one lead I have like total respect for, it's Ben, because I've just seen CryptoVoxels go from like this nothingness of just white and black squares, mostly white squares. And I used to visit it and there'd be no one there. And I'd look around and there'd be nothing there. And I'd be like, oh, well, okay. But every time I'd keep checking up, I'd just see so much activity and progress. And Ben just hammering through things and adding features. And this is one person. And it's incredible to see what he himself has developed. Blowing me away with what he's done. It kind of makes a lot of people, I think it brings confidence to his community as well, because it's like, this person is consistently engaging with us. Whatever we want, he's nimble enough to kind of apply it pretty much the next day. And I like that. And I wish Decentraland was a little bit more nimble like that. It seems there's a big barrier to when you want features, you kind of have to push it to them and then they release it in like an update, maybe like a month or two from now. But with Ben, it's like, all right, bang, you got it the next day. So,
speaking of Ben, you want to click on the tab that's the Twitter one that says Ben?
I do.
So that, yeah, obviously many of you guys probably already know, but this is the founder of CryptoVoxels, one man army, as Matty said. He's crazy how he can, he just works nonstop, and also he enjoys it. And that's one thing I want to bring up, where he turned his hobby and something that he loves to do into his work and into like something that he's building that can potentially be massive, right? I think that's so cool that he took something that he does and enjoys to do, and now is making it into his full-time gig, and then can grow exponentially. Like, how many people can say that they love what they do and then also have the growth trajectory of like, the metaverse, right? Which is like unlimited. So I think that's really cool. I don't really know too much about his background, besides the fact that he was a contractor for DCL for like a really short period of time. And then also there was, he recently had two guys come on to do some coding stuff. But now he's mainly just doing a lot of, he's hiring people that are experts in like one niche. So like sound or scripting or whatever. And he'll contract that person out for a period of time to implement something. And then that'll be that. And if it needs any maintenance, he'll contract him out again. But he basically said, he's like, listen, like, because actually I just spoke to him an hour before this call, funnily enough. It wasn't planned, but he was like, there's so much stuff I'm working on all the time. He kind of works on little bits here and there. And because I said, hey, is there like a roadmap? Is there like a plan? And he's like, there is a overall roadmap, but in terms of day to day, he works on a lot of different things, and he's kind of pushing the whole project forward. And then if something's close to getting finished, because he got like 90% of the way there, then he'll just do a sprint, finish that 10%, and then it'll be implemented. So that's kind of how he works. Because I was so curious. I was like, Ben, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm so confused about how this is all working and how you're doing this by yourself. But that makes sense if you're like the one man show that he is. So.
Yeah. I don't know much about how he conducts himself. I just see him in Discord consistently going back and forth. But yeah, the sprints make sense.
Yeah, I actually I DM'd him like a couple of weeks ago to have a call, just because I wanted to chat with him. I've never talked to him, and he was like, hey, he didn't respond to me. I was like, why is he not responding to me? So I kept DMing him, and I DM'd him a couple of times, and then he's like, hey man, sorry, I have literally hundreds of DMs. And I was like, dude, how do you have? I can't even imagine. Like, I don't know. I don't know how he does it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was actually trying to get him and a couple of other projects to a Decentraland conference that was kind of going to be like the Origins conference, in the sense of the 2017 projects, right? People that figured it out, that actually made the whole NFT thing a space. So people like Ben, CryptoKitties was on board, CryptoPunks was on board, Esteban from Decentraland was on board. But I couldn't get in touch with Ben, and I couldn't get in touch with CryptoPunk said yes, and then they just totally disappeared. So I was like, oh damn, I couldn't lock that in. But that would have been a totally awesome conference to run, right?
So it never went through?
It didn't go through because it was actually booked for mid-July, but then I just couldn't get in touch with CryptoPunks. And then CryptoKitties didn't want to do a solo with Esteban. It just wouldn't have been a full thing, right? Because CryptoVoxels and CryptoPunks are a big part of the story.
You should totally try to do that again, because that would be the coolest conference. Like all the old people, get them all together, and then that'd be sick. You should totally try to organize.
Because for them, it was all about starting from nothing and then kind of realizing it's a thing, and like playing around with contracts. And I know Esteban did a lot with the whole NFT space as well. Obviously Ben as well. And for them, it went from like an idea, can we do this, to holy shit, there's this whole industry we can kind of tap into.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, speaking of OGs, I mean, hopefully we'll cover them in another, stream, but the CryptoPunks guys, those are like the guys that started, this whole, I mean, if we're going way, way back, you have the Rare Pepes on Counterparty.
Yeah.
But that was like in 2014. And now those are kind of not so popular anymore, but MCs on Ethereum, CryptoPunks are like the, original. So that's super cool.
Yeah. That's what makes them special. And I think, I know we're going off topic with this, but their whole model is totally awesome. Like 10,000 punks they've just released into the wild. They hold on to 1,000 punks. The rest gain value, and then now they're just sitting on like probably a few thousand Ethereum worth of digital assets.
Yeah. Anyway. So I actually a little sneak peek. I'm working on a big kind of thesis all about CryptoPunks. So I'll be releasing sometime in the coming months, hopefully.
I feel like people get they don't like, especially new people to the space. They get lost in all the new stuff that's happening. It takes them a while to kind of wind back and check out the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely information overload. Like you have to deal with crypto, the pricing, like prices go up and down, and you have to learn about like the blockchain. That's confusing. And you have like virtual worlds, arts. You have like so much stuff going on. So, I mean, it's confusing for me. So, yeah. All right, let's go. Let's jump into the product section. So this is point number 4. You want to do just like go into the world or something like that?
Uh,
I don't know if it's already choppy, then maybe we shouldn't do that. But
I didn't mean to the world, but yeah, it is a bit choppy, but we can kind of look around.
yeah, so basically we touched upon this already before, but CryptoVoxels and a lot of these other blockchain-based virtual worlds, you buy pieces of land and you can build anything you want. One thing I love about all blockchain-based virtual worlds is that the optionality of the NFT. So if I buy, a Gods and Chain NFT or an Axie NFT, like you kind of know what you're getting. You're going to get this, it's going to do this action, like it's going to fight this other Axie, or you can breed with them, or you can like use this card for Gods and Chain as this much mana and this much health, whatever. And no, not mana. Was it health and was it attack power? Anyways, so you kind of know what you're going to get. But what's cool with these is that it's the optionality is unlimited. You can make literally anything that you can dream of. You can make this. And I wrote a blog post about this, but I call blockchain-based virtual worlds the scarce web because we're so used to having limitless web where you can print, you can basically mint unlimited files, like copy and paste unlimited files. You can make unlimited Facebook profiles. You can tweet unlimited times. Like there's no limits to like the internet as we know it. And now with blockchain, we can introduce this artificial scarcity. Well, it's artificial in the sense that we created it, but it's real in the sense that it can be hard coded into the contract to not allow any more. And I can see like these types of blockchain-based virtual worlds becoming the like Manhattans of the internet, where it's like hyper dense of rich content because people are making cool stuff because they want to be involved, and it's user owned. So it's like I liken it to a Reddit, like Reddit.com, but it's all your favorite subreddits that you're seeing, and it's like they're all super interesting articles or videos or blog, like whatever. And so that's what I hope is that in a couple of years from now, every blockchain-based virtual world, or DCL, CryptoVoxels, Somnium, soon to be Sandbox, I want you to walk through it and be like, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. Just like be blown away by what's going on, and that's kind of what I hope.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 because the space is so big, and although the what you can do and the utility of the platform is limitless, like you said, it's like kind of like the new internet, right? You can do whatever the hell you want with the internet. It takes some time to build. So people join in and they see a lot of emptiness, but it is one of those things that's a momentum thing. I don't know if you went through this, Andrew, the WOMPs, right? The images of what people actually built. And I hope everyone can see this, and the Zoom thing isn't blocking it, but it's pretty crazy. Like imagine all of this pretty much side by side. So when you're walking through CryptoVoxels, like see how awesome this is. You can just jump into like someone's room and see a conference that's happening, jump into someone else's kind of hangout and see a game that's being played. Ideally, this is what you want on a cluster level, right?
Totally. Yeah. I like love, I don't really know why it's called WOMP, but I think it's kind of funny, but there's so much to explore on just this one homepage. We're seeing all this like crazy creations and beautiful stuff. And I think that's so cool to have this being featured, because really what we're doing is we're featuring the builders and we're like promoting that, because you should want to like get involved on a deeper level than just ownership. You should want to get involved in like community and building. And then like with DCL, I think there is that like slightly higher barrier to build stuff versus CryptoVoxels, because it's all blocks, right? And CV. But with DCL, I think it's really cool is that people are figuring out like other solutions. So I actually haven't done too much research on this, and I should, but you would probably know MetaZone. Like I feel like that is such a cool solution for DCL, and I could see MetaZone being like the app store of DCL, or like even like the metaverse. Like they could expand to other worlds and stuff like that. What do you know about them?
Oh man, I know exactly like what you said is what they are aspiring to be, or what they're actually doing at the moment is the app store for Decentraland, and being some sort of a easy bridge to deploy content on someone's land, because there's these investors that hold land, but truth be told, they don't know how to develop things, or they're not artistically inclined to build beautiful things, right? But what if you separate those two actions and you get someone to build those things, and then you have the investors that build and deploy, then it's just like two things that come together perfectly. And I think the really cool thing about this that hit me the other day really, really hard, actually hit me yesterday, but making these content NFT pieces, and this was a MetaZone thing that they always had this in mind, was to make the content NFT so you can trade them, you can rent people's conference centers, deploy them wherever you want, on whichever land you want. But also these art pieces that where one day, it seems like art's going to be filling up a lot of CryptoVoxels and eventually a lot of Decentraland. But it hit me because I was starting to look into the art market and I was like, oh, I really love the 3D art stuff that's happening. Why not buy the tokenized 3D art, deploy them as GLDs or whatever format they are on my Decentraland land, and suddenly that art is content. It's owned by me because it's a token. That's and awesome. It's providing value to the land that I'm on. And then suddenly it hit me what Whale Shark's doing, and I was like, that guy's a genius. He saw this like 2 years ago.
Wait, Whale Shark did this?
Oh, well, he's kind of put like the CryptoVoxels and art thing together, right? And it seems like that's his play, like bring the art community and build. I don't know if it was like to get the artists to build on CryptoVoxels and then have that value sharing thing. But with me, it was like deployed super rare art that's 3D, which some pieces really are just amazing. And that art is content, it's tokenized and it's owned by me and it appreciates in value as the artist gets more popular or just in time, right? That's how the art world works. And yeah, I can hold conferences around that art and have those as monuments around Decentraland. Because that adds like that culture to the project as opposed to just like building them.
Yeah, I just love that art is so like it's featured so prominently inside these virtual worlds. I think that's like, so I was never into art like growing up or like at all whatsoever. And then yeah, and I got into art because of NFTs. Like I never bought an art piece, I didn't care. And then I was like, you know what? And I didn't even like buy a single crypto art piece for a while because I was like, I don't really get it. It's just art, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? Like art is like culture, and culture, like we are right now, people that are in the space today are a part of like the early adopters that are creating the culture for this metaverse. And I think that that's just like so cool. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna screw it. Like I'm gonna get involved. I'm gonna start buying some stuff. And like, I think that 3D art idea is really, really sick.
A couple of pieces that hit me with the whole art market. And I agree with you that, well, actually when I was young, I used to love to draw, but I never really pursued that, right? I was more engineering, math minded. So I went into engineering, etc. But like, I listened to Connie's drop on Josie's Twitch stream, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, right? I really like that, and the fact that I can kind of own a part of that made a lot of sense. So that was actually one of the first, in fact, I think it was the first piece of art that I bought was actually Connie's piece. And
wait, so what piece was it? I don't remember that.
It was like an audio. I don't know if he was selling just the art piece or it was maybe rights to the audio.
Can you pull that? Do you know? Can you pull it up? Is it on Mintbase?
No. He kind of sold it on his own website.
Oh, okay.
I've got it as an MP3. I have to pull it up, but yeah, I don't know how. It'll probably lag the computer. I couldn't do that.
So yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and then the next one, and that was the first one, and then the second one with the 3D art is when I went to Super Rare and I saw this artist. You guys may know him. His name is Marco Matic, and dude, this guy's 3D art just blew me away. And he plays with AR and VR, and I showed it to my wife, and she was like, oh, "That's amazing!" And I just couldn't get that art piece out of my head. Yeah. And it was those two experiences that I was like, wow, okay, well, this integrating art with virtual worlds is a perfect fit, and the growth of both cultures together, it just seems like a really good fit because you have the utility of these virtual worlds with these conferences, meetups, etc., and then you have the beauty that surrounds it, and the people that build it, right, which is artists.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so I guess speaking of these people that Connie and whatnot, community. So this is point number 5. The community of CryptoVoxels. How are we going to approach this one? Because I guess the community is like, I think that there's a lot of people now that are into CV, into DCL. Like I think before it was more bifurcated into like, I'm a DCL guy, I'm a CV guy, I'm a Somnium guy. And I feel like now, at least the people I talk to, people are getting involved in everyone. Is that something that you're seeing as well?
100%. I think it's like people from both sides are kind of reaching out and collaborating and running cross events, and that's props to both sides of people that are doing that. I just don't know how to pull up something that shows the community of CryptoVoxels. Maybe we can jump on Twitter
there's a work in progress WIP meetup. Like I think that the people holding in-world events is really, really important for the platform to become kind of a quasi social network, like the future social network. And it's really cool because we're seeing it's Matthew, who's from Cent. his meetup is his, right? Isn't it his meetup, or whose meetup is this?
Yeah, it's the Token Smart team, I think. So it's him
Okay,
and
okay.
Rizzle and a couple of other people. I think Jimmy's also involved from Avastars.
Yeah, and then Trizlet, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
Trizlet, yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this meetup, I think it's every week. I could be totally wrong. I should probably know this. Super great. They just have people. They have like featured people speak for a couple of minutes. I'm sure many guys in the chat have gone, and it's usually always interesting stuff. People are doing. I mean, people are working on so much cool stuff. It's always like something new or interesting, and yeah, it's cool to have these in-world events because it encourages people to go in, use the product, hang out with people, connect. And I think so. Actually, I'm working on another blog now. This is kind of a tangent, but it's basically talking about how there's certain golden ages within history, and there's like the Islamic golden age, then there's like the Italian golden age, and then there's like whatever. So I think that we just left the golden age of Silicon Valley. I think we're kind of exiting that, and like America's kind of on the decline thanks to someone. Anyways, yeah. So America's kind of has some problems, and there's taxes and regulation, and all this stuff. So I think what we're doing now, and especially with COVID, everyone's kind of moving to the cloud. And Naval Ravikant, who's like a big time investor, he said that the next golden age, or no, he said the next renaissance is going to happen in the cloud. And I think that's what we're doing now. And so these work in progress meetups or meetups in DCL or Somnium or whatever, it's cool because a golden age is when all these people with all these different interests and all these different, the ones working on music, ones working on like, I don't know, NFTs or whatever, they come together and they like chat about what they're doing and they kind of feed off each other. It's all about collaboration and like ideas. And so this is like the perfect definition of what's happening within these blockchain-based virtual worlds. And like the WIP meetup is like a great example of that. I think Matt is just crushing it and doing a great job.
Dude, he's the first one that invited me to CryptoVoxels. And
no way.
Because of him, I went in and I felt a little bit more part of that community. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I can invite Matt to my stuff. And then after that, a lot of us went there, and then they came here. And I think that those initial reach outs were, what lit a fire in the mixing of communities. But if you guys can see the screen, first of all, I apologize for the lag. It's stupid crazy just because I'm on my Mac, which is a 2013 laptop. But this image here.
Sell some land and buy a new laptop, please.
I need to, man. It was actually meant to be on the other laptop, but we jumped to this one because the audio.
Yeah.
We all know whose fault that was. Yeah, but this image right here, I think, encapsulates exactly why art is important, because this could have easily just been a static building. This meetup could have been a static building, but it's not. There's a bit of, look at the art pieces that make this a lot more interesting to be part of. There's also the wearables that are on the avatars, but you see these 3D monuments, you see hanging art on the top. So yeah, this is obviously a previous point, but that's the reason why I feel like every land is going to need some sort of a pop to it, right? And not everyone's an artist. I can't build for the life of me something that looks beautiful, but I can get the utility and functionality from that.
Yeah, and going off that, you said that Matthew invited you to CryptoVoxels, and then you kind of got involved. And I think it might have been, was it you that invited me? There was a Decentraland fashion show. I forget who invited me.
Maybe Anorak. Anorak or me, one of us.
Yeah. So you guys invited me to that fashion show, and that was my first kind of experience, like deep experience in world, like meeting people, hanging out, kind of getting the vibe and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I really, really enjoyed that. And I think it's so important to like attend these events and just kind of get a feel for what's going on. And I don't know, you just feel like part of the community, and you feel like something special is going on, because it's like so weird, like we're in this like virtual world that like everyone's built, and we're like, we're showing up. In that case, we're like showing off our fashion. I thought that's so cool. It's weird cool, and yeah. And then you touched upon wearables. I think wearables are going to be in CryptoVoxels. They're still not huge, but I mean, they are for individuals, but in terms of market, there's not a ton of market activity. But I think wearables are like an amazing way for people to showcase their personality. Because just like in the real world, physical world, I'll wear like, I don't know, like if I wear like Gucci, then you're like, okay, cool. Like he's like has some money. Like you can kind of, you can like kind of gauge someone's personality a bit. And I think wearables is a great way to just showcase your personality and kind of showcase like what you're into, especially because we can like in CryptoVoxels design whatever wearables you want. Like you can have like a squid mask or whatever, and just hang out and kind of showcase that, which I think is important.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this also I kind of realized a couple of weeks ago, but the whole art scene that's happening with Super Rare, where people are, artists are making art and they're being incentivized because there's a healthy amount of collectors there with a good amount of money that want to, one, help artists and two, collect pieces. But there's no reason why that whole movement or a big part of that movement can't be brought to the virtual worlds like CryptoVoxels and Decentraland, because suddenly they're making pieces of art. They're the early collections of what hopefully may be like really popular artists or artists that will stay with the platform. And collectors or investors would be interested in buying those because they're like the early pieces of, that artist's work in these virtual platforms. So I think that sort of movement, when we start to unlock, it's already unlocked in CryptoVoxels, but with Decentraland, when we do it, hopefully that sort of a movement will start to move to these virtual worlds. It's got the same concept of like, limited amount of mints, early collecting pieces. They all have a date stamp. They're all tokenized. So
Yeah, I completely agree. I think like the virtual clothing market is going to be, over the course of the next 10 years, going to become a multi-billion-dollar market. I know that sounds like insane, and like it is pretty insane, but I mean, people are going to have a lot of different avatars. People are going to have a lot of different, because it's like, how do you showcase your personality in a visual manner? And everyone loves to do that. And so people are going to have a lot of avatars, spend a lot of money in that, but also the clothing, especially. I think people are going to love to wear crazy cool stuff to all sorts of different events and just like different worlds and stuff like that. So I think it's going to grow into a massive market.
Mm-hmm. Wow, should we jump to the next thing, Andrew?
Yeah. So speaking of market, number 6 is market activity. So you want to go over to nonfungible.com. It's probably the best. By the way, huge shout out to Non-Fungible, Dan, and how do you pronounce his name? Yeah, Zoop. Yeah, Zoop. But his name is like Gauthier or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know.
Zoop is easier.
Zoop.
But yeah, I think they do a great job collecting all this data. Like, they're our coin market cap, because without them, like, I wouldn't know what I was looking at. So it's great to have them. But yeah, so let's go down to the it's like that graph. If you scroll down to the bottom, it should be like a kind of a wavy graph. There's NFT crypto news, Spidey. Go to all.
Isn't the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is a great way to visually see how, the market activity started off very, very slow, and Ben wasn't, working part-time and kind of selling things as I got built, and wasn't, trying to get ahead of his skis there. And then, you could see it pick up in April of 2019. Things got a little crazy. And actually that's when I first got involved. It was April of 2019. So I definitely felt that hype. I thought it was like everything was booming. I was going to like run out, but, and then there was a period of people just like kind of the community growing slowly and things kind of happening. And then I want to say, I'm not sure of this January 2020 spike. I want to say it's because the Origin City was selling out, but I'm not 100% positive. I know there's a ton of market activity leading up to that. And then the days, like the final, like, I think 6 weeks or something like that of the auctions. Cause the parcels are sold in an auction format on a weekly basis. Those were like crazy. Like, you had to, did you ever buy any of that, Matty?
I didn't know, but I remember it was nuts because every week I'd see CryptoVoxels just like spike up to the top. We have like 500 Ethereum volume.
It was insane. Like, basically Ben would mint them and on OpenSea, and it would be like a feeding frenzy. Like, you would just click refresh, click as much as possible, and you just buy anything that popped up. You couldn't even like target what you wanted, and stuff would be sold in like minutes. And
so what was it? Was it like a reverse Dutch auction, or was it just like it goes up and you put a price and he accepts? Or what was
so it was, he would mix it up, but I think it was reverse Dutch most of the time. Is that when it starts off at like 5 and goes down to like 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was mostly reverse Dutch, and which like that was great for Ben and team, because people obviously, like, when you get to a frenzy like that, people are not waiting till 1 Ethereum. Like, they're gonna buy it like whatever, right? And so I think he would put it roughly at market price, maybe a little bit higher, and then people would just buy like crazy. So yeah, and what we're seeing now is that the activity kind of tapered down a little bit in April of 2020, and then had another big spike in, like, was that July, and then now you see it's kind of tapering down again, and it just kind of goes in these waves. But I think there's kind of a few things here. Ethereum has gone up significantly over the past like 2 weeks or something like that. So I think activity in CryptoVoxels has gone down because people don't want to, suddenly everything is like priced in Ethereum. So suddenly everything costs much different than before. And then also obviously gas price, which isn't a huge issue with something like this because people don't mind spending $5 on gas if you're buying like a $500 piece of like land or whatever. So I don't think that's a major issue, but yeah.
Yeah, you can see is this the blue line, the blue spikes I'm assuming is like every Wednesday or something.
Yeah. And what is the highest sale that you remember in DCL or that you know of?
DCL or CryptoVoxels?
DCL.
DCL, I remember on the very, very early days, there was like a 2 million mana sale. And
so in USD, what was that at the time?
It was like 150,000 USD.
Wow, that's crazy.
That was for one pixel. That was for one piece of land.
What?
Yeah. It was like
crazy.
Stupid overboard, but
what was it? Was it like a wash trading or something?
I don't think so because it was pretty close to the center. It was like 5 or 6 pieces away from the center, and it was on the very, very early days. So maybe like within 1 month of the whole landscape opening. So no one really knew the prices of things.
Okay.
There's a lot of FOMO because people wanted to get very close pieces of land, right? So
yeah.
you had like these outliers where things were like really cheap sometimes, or sometimes it'd be like really stupid expensive.
Yeah.
But if you would have put that one aside, then the next one would have been like 220,000 USD, I think, and it was like for a pretty big estate.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's really wild when you talk about the volumes in some of these virtual worlds. Like the biggest one I know of was there was one super tall tower in CryptoVoxels I'm talking about CryptoVoxels. There was one super tall tower in Frankfurt, and then there was I think it was like 35 parcels all adjacent to each other in one neighborhood. I think it's like the Oasis. I don't know the neighborhood, but Spidey Monkey sold that for, it was like what, 110? Because I remember it was like
the one piece, yeah. I think the bundle was like 500 or 750 or something.
No, for everything all in all is a bundle because he had to make 2 separate bundles because it was too big, and I think it was 110,000 at the time USD. So. So I remember I called him like right away. I was like, "Yo, like, oh my god, like, what just happened?"
I messaged him right away too. I was like, "Dude, what the hell just happened?" And I think I actually calculated, and I don't know if my calculations were correct. I think it was like 150K or something. It was something wild, and especially the ROI on that because I think he got in pretty early when the lands were like 150 Ethereum or something. Maybe.
Yeah. I think that right now, like for there's a lot of like crypto whales, so obviously like it's a lot of money for a lot of people, but for some crypto whales, it's like it's a lot of money still, but it's like us spending like $1,000. If you're worth so many millions in crypto, it's like not that bad. But I think that these blockchain-based virtual worlds is what I kind of envision. Hopefully, is that there's going to be a lot more kind of corporate players entering, and people are going to want offices or kind of meeting spots or kind of marketing towers or buildings inside these virtual worlds. Is what I hope. Like. One thing that I really want to see with Frankfurt, which is like the financial center of CryptoVoxels, is I would love to see like a decentralized financial center. So the DeFi Frankfurt Financial Center, whatever. And each tower could be something
Uniswap.
like, Uniswap, like Aave or, Balancer, like all these kind of like platforms. And what would be cool is if you go in them and you can kind of like do, stake or earn or like do all the operations within that building. Because and I think it's a great spot for them to market because everyone inside these worlds are already crypto native. Like they know how to use crypto, right? So
exactly.
But I just think the user population is not quite there yet, but hopefully within a year or two, we can really have some people.
I mean, we have to give credit to the fact that we're in a bear market, and in a bear market, where people usually hold on to their money, right? People don't like spending their money. We saw sales of hundreds of thousands of USD. We're having community meetups of 100 people plus, and we're at prices, and like the prices to me reflect the current energy in the market, and it's like minus 90% of what it used to be. So.
Totally.
I can't imagine how crazy this would be if Bitcoin or any of the cryptocurrencies or the space goes to anything, even half of what it was during its peak, and we all envision it being much higher than that, then, that sort of a crowd and development activity is just going to be insane. We're going to totally lose contact of who's like the key community members. Everyone's going to be like a community member, right?
I obviously I really hope for another bull market, obviously, right? But at the same time, like I really do like how in bull markets, like there's a ton of people that come in looking for quick gains and whatnot. And then there's a lot of people that like the people that build and that are serious and like that are more in it for like the long term, those kind of get like those voices get drowned out a bit. But you know, after the bull market fades, those like fair weather fans, they'll leave, and then you'll be left with like the same, you know, core group of people, which is great, and I love that. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems
All
like the
right.
natural thing to do. But anyway, let's. I don't know if you want to go through some of the recent sales or like what's happening here.
Yeah,
It
yeah. I
seems.
mean, yeah. Let's check them. I don't. You know, I haven't been paying attention to the recent sales, but let's see. We got this one for $900. Oh, we got 300. Oh, one ether. That's really cheap on a corner.
Oh,
That's
this is
insane.
this. But I think this is a like one of the island pieces, right?
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. You can't sort by origin. I guess we go
Oh,
to
I think I
OpenSea
can
and check it out,
actually.
but
Um, if I were to go here and then okay, maybe not. Let's go to OpenSea.
I think on OpenSea you can sort by origin and the islands and whatnot. But oh yeah, we should probably touch upon the issuance of new lands
Mm-hmm.
within CryptoVoxels because obviously that's a contentious issue. I just
Oh,
spoke
I
with
wonder, is
Ben.
there a map I could quickly pull up for it? CryptoVoxels.
Yeah, go to cryptovoxels.com and then yeah, there should just be map. But yeah, so I was speaking with Ben about the land issuance and kind of where he saw that going, and basically because you know I'm a pretty big landholder in Origin City, and when he started making the islands, I was a little bit like you know I was a little salty. I went to Discord and I you know I said I was a little bit you know mad and whatnot, but at the same time I was thinking short term and thinking about myself and not thinking about like the grand vision here. Like you can't have a metaverse like this or piece of a metaverse like this if there's 3,026 parcels. Like it's not going to happen, right?
I
Like
100%
we need
agree.
to have, yeah. Sorry, what?
I 100% agree.
Oh, right. Yeah. So like you know, in theory, in you know 5 years from now, I want like millions of people in all sorts of blockchain based virtual worlds, right? So like you can't you got to keep expanding. And I asked if there is a hard cap. He said no, but he's going to be very careful with balancing the needs of people in Origin and balancing the needs of the community. And he said right now he kind of stopped making new islands because he's seeing that the new islands aren't getting built out as much as he wanted, and people are kind of squatting on them, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind, but I think he's very wary of the fact that we are the community, we are the people that are you know helping this project go forward, and so he wants to go slow and not do anything rash and not do anything crazy. And anything he does build, he's going to keep on printing more stuff, which he should because the population will expand. But he wants it to be like value add, like to the whole world, and not just like I need more money, I'm gonna print it. Like I need more money, it's gonna be strategic.
Yeah, doing an option like this and kind of getting investors, it's actually providing no value to the ecosystem. Providing value to Ben because obviously he needs funding, but in terms of the ecosystem, unless people actually build on those lands, they're probably doing more worse than good, right? And it's good to see
Yeah,
like
yeah.
no no.
I think speculation is pretty like important
Mhm.
to any sort of market. So like if people want to buy and hold with the intention of flipping, like I'm all for that. I think it's good to have like a secondary market activity and people trading this stuff and making money because most likely if you make money from NFTs, you're probably gonna you know spend it on more NFTs. At least that you know that's what I've been doing, right? So I think speculation is a great way to get people excited about markets and get people excited about projects. Really,
Oh yeah, 100%. But I think like the core of these virtual projects are going to be the artists and like the builders,
totally,
right? So
totally, yeah.
yeah, I was also thinking. I remember when Ben announced it, and I was actually just about to buy some land, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a second! Like this is not a good thing." And that was me again, like what you mentioned, thinking of how I would personally feel as an investor. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of selfish, and it's also it's focused on our own little pool of investment. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they're going to reach prices where they're just unaffordable for artists to come in. And it's, especially with the case of CryptoVoxels, where there's only like a very small amount of land. I think there's only
Mm-hmm.
3,000. So you don't have a healthy mix of investors and artist owners. Or maybe you do, but it like caps out at a very quick time phase. With Decentraland, they have like 90,000 lands. And with the Sandbox, they have like 180,000 lands. So even if like 50% decide to squat, hopefully you get some sort of development activity with the other 50%. But with CryptoVoxels, I think it needs to be a growth thing. He needs to add more artists and land. But yeah, like you said, it has to be with the movement, with the community. If it's too
Mm-hmm.
fast, it might cause some pretty bad ruptures. But yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Is there a way to kind of zoom out on the map, or is this maximum zoomed out?
I don't know. I thought there was. Oh
Oh, you
wait,
know
wait.
what? You can make your screen, yeah, command minus, or I guess that's on. I
Oh
don't know what
yeah.
it is on.
Wait, I'm doing it, but it's like
Nice,
really
nice.
slow. Yeah.
So, do you ever remember seeing the world back, like when, I don't know, back in like 2019?
Oh yeah. It
It's
was like pretty empty, right?
it's so crazy to see like what's been going on. Like, and I just if you take what we have now and extrapolate that, like I don't know, think about like 3 years in the future, it's gonna be
Huh.
so cool. It's gonna be like a whole city and just like crazy stuff going on.
Well, there's a 3D map, right? I'm pretty sure I saw a 3D map somewhere.
If you click on a parcel, it'll kind of spin around it 3D, but
Mhm.
and then you can kind of zoom in and zoom out of that particular parcel. But I don't know if you can like 3D map.
Oh, I'm zooming out a bit too much now. Shit.
I think Spidey actually made some
Yeah.
sort of like price heat map for CV, and also I think DCL. He's a wizard, so
That's right. Uh, wait, let me zoom in. It's pretty interesting to me how small these islands are compared to the whole origin city.
yeah,
They're
I
actually
think
pretty
it's
small.
yeah. I don't really I haven't really thought about if I'm a pro or like if I'm a fan or not of the size of the islands. Um, I guess because after I got over like the initial like hurdle of like hey like he's printing more land, then I was like Origin City is gonna always be Origin City. It's kind of like um, I don't know like how there's
Mm.
like there's Manhattan and then there's like the Bronx and there's like the
Mm.
Brooklyn and what I
Mm.
mean. There's just different. So after I got over that, I was like, like maybe he's gonna print another place that's the size of Origin or maybe bigger. Like I have no idea, but in theory, like it should be all good for the platform. Like if regardless if there's more users on the platform, Origin City and the surrounding stuff, everything that exists before is gonna hopefully
Mm.
increase in value. So
Mm.
yeah. All right, should we jump to so I guess that was we went through current market activity. What about number 8, growth outlook?
Mm.
Yeah, so I mean we've definitely touched upon this already, but like I'm super bullish on two things in the world because if you look at the world, it's pretty crazy right now. The Fed's printing money, we got COVID, it's crazy, right? But two things I'm super excited about is Bitcoin. Like I'm obsessed with Bitcoin. I think it's like it's going to potentially be the world's reserve asset, which is crazy. And then also the metaverse. And what we're seeing right now with CryptoVoxels, with DCL, with Somnium Space, these are all like the pre-Napsters of the metaverse. It's like the very, very, very early days of what this is going to be because you cannot have my thesis on all this is that you cannot have a true metaverse that is centralized. So you can have something that looks and feels like CryptoVoxels or looks and feels like DCL or whatever or created by Facebook or created by Epic Games, which is like the Fortnite creator, but you cannot. It's not actually real because there's no user, there's no property rights, there's no ownership, and you're not going to spend a lot of time, money, and effort into a business or into a world or into anything really if you know that it can suddenly be seized from you at any time, right? You're just going to be like, I don't know if I. It's kind of like the analogy of like, in communist Russia, like when it was the Soviet Union, people obviously weren't allowed to start businesses, but even if you were able to, you didn't want to because the government would be like, no, we're seizing that. We're seizing all your hard work and we're taking your car or whatever if you had a car. And then, so what a lot of people do is they would go to America, they go to the UK, they go to Australia, they go somewhere where there's strong property rights, and then they go like build their lives there. And so I see that as, yeah, Facebook and Epic Games and whatever, they're gonna have metaverse like stuff, and maybe it'll connect to these worlds, probably not, but maybe. But like what's building here is like super special and like the true metaverse. So, needless to say, I'm super bullish on the metaverse and what's being built here.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you in the sense of there is a pretty healthy community now, especially with Bitcoin, where they're a bit more aware in the sense of they want self-ownership, they want to be self-governed, they don't want so like Mark Zuckerberg is like the token child for entrepreneurship, but he also became like the main guy that represents centralization now, like the
Totally.
person that runs Facebook, steals your data, whatever it may be. But it's something that I guess normal people are okay with, but I'm seeing newer generations be a little bit more skeptic of and more in tune with especially once they kind of mature a bit and understand how things work, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to sell my data. I don't want some sort of a centralized thing. And I think that movement's going to continue, especially the more popular Bitcoin gets, the more that sort of awareness type thing will happen. And yeah, I think there's a lot of future with these metaverse worlds. I remember I did a comparison market cap image, and you're familiar with it, with the dot and the big.
Did you tweet it? Do you want to pull it up?
Ooh, I always lose it in the sense that it just gets pushed so far back in my tweets.
Oh yeah. I don't know how you're.
I don't know how to pull it up, man. It's
yeah.
Oh wait, I actually recently tweeted it, didn't I?
Okay. But yeah, I think I saw it. It was, you were comparing the market size of, it was DC, what was it? It's Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin to NFTs, right?
No, it was NFTs to crypto.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I was trying to say there is that financially we are, 1,000th of the size of just in the crypto industry, which is pretty small compared to the world. Like how often you meet someone that has cryptocurrency? Not very.
Yeah. It's basically, because you're correct. Like I very rarely meet anyone with crypto, and then, but crypto is like orders of magnitude larger than in the NFT space. So right now the addressable market for NFTs, I view it as any, cryptocurrency holders, and a good way to gauge like the rough user numbers is looking at like exchanges. And I think Coinbase has 35 million users on exchange right now. Right. And so if you just take 1 million of those users, and because OpenSea has 20,000, right?
Whoa.
So like 20,000, roughly
that's
20,000,
the whole NFT
right?
space, right?
Right, essentially, right? Like OpenSea like dominates, right? So if you look at that, if we even had 1 million people coming to NFTs, like that would be, the amount of stuff people would create is like crazy, and like the activity would be nuts. So I see the addressable market as crypto market, which is great that you made that little graphic. But yeah, I mean, even expanding beyond that, because
I agree.
Crypto is taking over the world, metaverse is taking over the world, so it's going to be just ridiculous.
But I wonder, like with that sort of activity coming in, I don't think we can be naive. Well, especially I'm talking about myself, but we can be naive in the sense of thinking like our platforms will be the core of that growth. Because along with that amount of users, there's going to be that amount of innovation and new projects, new exciting things that are going to pop up, and people with a lot of money building like really cool projects. Like we see NBA Top Shots coming in. They're obviously a recognized brand, and I think there's a lot of people just watching the space that are waiting for the opportune moment to build something amazing. So the ecosystem, along with the user base, in terms of the projects that are involved in whatever the hell is going to be going on, it's going to be so much that at the moment I feel like I can kind of keep on top of all the projects that are coming out. Like we hear about them, the same people go there, they share it on Twitter, I know about them. But it's going to be a time where there's just too much stuff happening, and every like second day, it's like the ICO phase, right? There's always some.
Totally. Yeah, but one good thing that we have going for us is that I think you're right. Like when like the rush happens in NFTs, whenever that does, it's going to be crazy, and it's going to be so much stuff going on. But I think people will naturally flow to quality. So as long as the project that you're involved in is a quality project, which a lot of blockchain-based virtual worlds are today, or the ones that we spoke about, then I think that you should see some impact. I would assume. I'm not sure, but yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. That's crazy. 200 mil. Oh yeah. So this is where I commented. I was like, how'd you because the market cap number is hard to determine for NFTs, but I mean, if 20,000 users, I could imagine it's probably like less than that. But yeah.
Yeah, but even if you were to double the market cap or triple it, just in case, we'll just say,
nothing.
It's still freaking nothing. It's nothing compared to this, right?
So what does the X represent? Do you have X1, or is that just the scale?
That's a scale. So that's one, and that's 1,300x the scale of the market. I don't know why I said MK. Should be
market
MC.
cap.
Should be MC.
Oh yeah. Well, that's funny because you're correct, but I literally was like, market cap.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I actually have another picture with like multiple circles here. I don't know if you saw that one too. It was like the Ethereum one, and then there was a Bitcoin one, and there was a crypto one, which showed like our neighbors and how we're still pretty much really tiny compared to even just Ethereum, which is like this big.
Oh man, I think like NFTs are still a niche, which is weird because we're like involved in it like so much. But yeah, just like when I talk to crypto people and I'm like, hey, like what do you know about NFTs? They're like, oh, CryptoKitties. But like besides that, they're not really too they don't know too much, which is good and bad. I think it's good because we're deeply involved and it's only going to grow from here. But it's kind of bad in the sense that we're not encouraging enough people fast enough to join. But I think it'll happen.
Yeah, it'll happen because people that get rich off Bitcoin in the next bull run will need something to put their money in. And hopefully, something sexy enough like digital land or digital cards or something like digital art will be a lot better place to put it than the next coin. Because that was the only option, right? You just take your money out of Bitcoin and you throw it into some new altcoin that you think is going to go up. And it can only be so exciting.
Totally. I completely agree with that. All right. Should we move on to last thing?
Uh-huh.
All right. So, I mean, we have here rating and we talked about not just kind of discussing that really, but I mean, what we decided to do is, are you bullish or bearish on CryptoVoxels?
I'm bullish if the build momentum continues. And I don't know, because as an investor, I don't know how I feel, but as a user of the platform, I do know how I feel. Yeah. As an investor, I'm always wary of something that doesn't have a supply cap, but I don't know if that's the right mindset to have. So I'm like a very conflicted part of my life right now.
No, so I totally vibe with that completely. But I think that like if you have something that users love, then you are good. It doesn't matter. Like, look at Facebook and Twitter and whatever. Like these don't have supply caps and they're fine. I know this is kind of different because it's it's a different analogy, but I think as long as you make something that users love and you expand it in a smart way. Obviously, the supply cap thing worries me too. But as long as he's not printing 1 million parcels tomorrow or whatever, and kind of growing slowly and growing with the user population, then I think that just the fact that you said as a user, you like it, that's really important. It's like, boom, okay, cool. Like we good. So
yes.